Welcome to episode 4 of the design series, creating a custom computer case for a NAS with SOLIDWORKS xDesign. In this series, we're building a fully functional NAS, network attached storage, around existing PC components, and if you haven't caught up yet, you'll find links to previous episodes in the description below. In the last episode, we have finished the structural parts of the case, and in this episode, we will focus on the most important element of a large storage unit, hard drives. Hard drives need to stay in place securely, but I need to be able to remove them easily in case there is a problem, so I will build a box with drawers for them. Let's start with a layout sketch to represent size of parts I need in one single location. I don't spend time here creating this sketch. You are familiar with these simple operations now. So I start with a disk drawer I create with an open contour extrusion, also called a thin extrude. Once dimensions and fillets are placed, I add a small pull tab on the drawer. It will be used to remove hard drives when needed. Again, I add some fillets and dimensions and see how I center the tab. I use a reference line with extremities on the middle of each reference, and force the line vertical to center the sketch. As you may know if you have watched some of my previous videos, I prefer reducing dimension use when I can. Sketch relations are more robust. I continue with some more fillets and I add some chamfers on extremities to add some flexibility when inserting drawers. I add positioning with a couple of mates. Plane on plane for bottom and side and a dimension for front mate. I need to add a fastening solution between drawer and hard drive. I choose solution of interlocking studs, and to do that, I project hard drive holes into my sketch and create studs from them. Then I create a structure to hold drawers, and for that I leverage layout sketch I created earlier. I incorporate a lip and groove design to hold the parts together, and I don't forget to add a mate to fix the part. Remember, external references are not enough to position a part. I continue with some cuts where drawers will slide. I choose a clearance of 0.2 millimeters, so drawers will move freely but with a stop at the back. Of course, I need this shape for other drawers, so I use a linear pattern with same spacing than hard drives. At that point, I realize my side part is too thick, and I want hard drives to be cooled by fans, so I remove some more material and make them breathe. For that, I just add some simple sketches and extrude through all. I now add some tabs to secure structural parts together. There will be holes in one side and nut traps on the other side to simplify assembly phase. Once I have created one tab, I just mirror entities and use full sketch for extrusion. This saves time. And because I want to save even more time, I mirror both tabs on the other side. Then I would like to add some air vents, so I create some hexagonal holes and I pattern them along a line. To copy them across the part, I pattern this last pattern in two directions, upwards and downwards. I also fill holes that are too close to the tabs so the part remains strong. Now it's time to mirror the part, very easy with assembly mirror. So I can now create top part that will hold side parts. For that I build a plate and project tabs to create some recesses with an offset. That way part will fit together. Now I create through holes based on the tabs, so I'm sure holes will be aligned. Once I have added chamfers for countersunk bolts, I create an air vent on top part. For that I create new hexagonal holes and I take note of dimensions for the pattern. Finally, I leverage symmetry of the part in both directions to create the full air vent. That's the reason why I limited the pattern to the quarter of the part. See how I create this pattern of pattern? Then I cut the part by middle planes and recreate the full part with two mirror features. With this solution, these air vents are achieved very easily. Now let's create bottom plates that will support hard drives. I will create a sub-assembly that will contain both bottom plates, so it will behave like only one part in the assembly. I start with hole position, again to make sure holes are aligned, and I create the overall shape based on existing structure. Then I create both plates with simple geometry, a box of 2 mm thickness, that's maybe not enough, and of course holes for bolting plates. As always, I add some fillets in the corners, and some chamfers on holes for countersunk bolts. I also project holes I will use to attach the drawer structure to the bottom panels. I change feature order so drawer structure holes are done before chamfer, This way I use only one chamfer feature, so only one parameter. This is when I realize I forgot to design nut pockets in the side parts. So I create an hexagon with a blind hole and leverage symmetry to mirror sketch and reuse the mirror feature I used for tabs. So if there is any change, I will have only a few features to modify and the rest will rebuild nicely. However, this reordering has an effect on side vent sketch because part topology has changed, believe me. So I reattach entities to the middle of each edge and errors are gone. At that moment I also realized that interlocking studs will not be robust and accurate enough for my valuable data stored on hard drives. So I decide to replace them with countersunk holes. This will be far stronger and safer. I just make sure I remove dependencies to the rest of the assembly just to have something clean. Now our drawer structure is ready for prime time, so it's printing time. Once everything is printed, I start assembling with drawers on hard drives, then the structure with nuts in pocket holes. But I assembled side parts wrong, so openings for drawers are not in the same direction. I had only 50% chances after all. Same player, shoot again. Once I change side part, drawers can be inserted, so I can focus on fixing bottom parts. I test the assembly with hard drives in place, finally they can be inserted. However, I already think that design is not strong enough, panel bends too much. I probably need to slightly change the design and that will be the goal of next episode. I will also create some parts to hold motherboard perfectly in place on the structure. In the meantime, you can check SOLIDWORKS for Maker's website to subscribe to xDesign for a very cheap price. Thanks for watching and see you in the next episode.